I draw great strength from her example, together with all that I have learnt from the extraordinary people I have met throughout the Commonwealth.
The palace has just faced a big surprise. In a shocking turn of events that has royal fans talking all over the world, people close to the royal family say that King Charles has finally spoken out. He hinted that Fergie might be a risky person and could harm the royal family's careful public image. Is the royal family getting ready for another scandal? Or is this the start of a bigger problem that no one expected? Come with us as we look into the life of the woman who almost brought the monarchy down. King Charles speaks out. In a shocking new development, King Charles has reportedly spoken out about the Duchess of York's role within the royal family. According to a new book by royal biographer Tom Bower, the king has privately expressed concerns about Sarah's behavior and the potential risks she poses to the monarchy. In the book, titled Revenge, Meghan, Harry, and the War Between the Windsors, Bower claims that Charles has described the Duchess as high risk and a danger to the royal family. The author also alleges that the king has sought to distance himself from Sarah in recent years, fearing that her continued presence could damage the reputation of the House of Windsor. If true, the revelations in Bower's book are a stunning rebuke of the Duchess of York from the highest levels of the royal family. They also raise questions about Sarah's future role within the monarchy and the extent to which she will be allowed to participate in key events and initiatives. The Duchess has reportedly been left reeling by the news and is said to be deeply hurt by the king's alleged comments. The fallout from Bower's book is likely to have far-reaching consequences for Sarah and her relationship with the royal family. It remains to be seen whether she will be able to weather this latest storm and find a way to rebuild her reputation once again. But one thing is clear: the road ahead will be a difficult one, filled with challenges and obstacles that will test even the most resilient of spirits. As the world watches and waits to see how this latest chapter in the Duchess's story will unfold, one can only wonder at the twists and turns that have brought her to this point. From her fairy tale wedding to her years of scandal and struggle, Sarah Ferguson's journey has been one of the most remarkable and controversial in modern royal history. And while her future may be uncertain, one thing is clear: the Duchess will never be forgotten, and her impact on the monarchy will be felt for generations to come. From her fairy tale wedding to her years of scandal and struggle, Sarah Ferguson's journey has been one of the most remarkable and controversial in modern royal history. How did a woman from a relatively ordinary background end up capturing the heart of a prince and becoming one of the most talked-about members of the royal family? A commoner captures a prince's heart. Sarah Margaret Ferguson, often called Fergie, was not someone many people expected to marry into the British royal family. Growing up, Fergie had a comfortable life, but it was also quite normal compared to what you might think of when you hear about royalty. She went to a well-known school where she learned many things and made friends. One of her biggest loves was horseback riding. This hobby became very important in her life and eventually led her to meet the royal family. She met Prince Andrew at a party held at Windsor Castle, and from the very first moment they met, there was a strong connection between them, and they quickly fell in love. Their romance was exciting and fast-paced, capturing the attention of many people. Even though some people worried that Sarah might not be the right fit for the royal family, the couple decided to get engaged. This news was a big deal, and everyone was eager to see what would happen next. On July 23, 1986, the world watched with excitement as Sarah, looking very happy, walked down the aisle of Westminster Abbey. She wore a stunning wedding dress that featured her own coat of arms and had a long train that measured 17 feet. It was a beautiful moment that many people remember, as it marked the beginning of her life as a member of the royal family. But even as Sarah settled into her new role as Duchess of York, storm clouds were gathering on the horizon. Her bubbly, irreverent personality clashed with the stuffy formality of royal life, setting the stage for a series of scandals that would rock the monarchy to its core. The free-spirited Duchess struggled to conform to the rigid expectations placed upon her, and rumors began to circulate about her extravagant spending habits and tumultuous marriage. Over time, Sarah's connection with the royal family became more and more difficult. She often traveled to different countries and made friends with famous people like Michael Jackson and Steve Wyatt, which made some people in the palace worried. They started to question whether her actions were good for the royal family's image. This growing tension hinted that things were not going well behind the scenes, and it seemed like trouble was brewing for Sarah and her relationship with the royals. But it was her indiscretions with other men that would ultimately prove her undoing, setting in motion a chain of events that would forever change the course of her life. The toe-sucking scandal. In August 1992, just a few months after Sarah and Andrew said they were separating, some embarrassing pictures came out that shocked everyone in the royal family. The well-known photos, shown in British tabloids, showed the Duchess lying in the sun without a top on with an American money manager named John Bryan, who looked like he was kissing her toes. The scandal erupted quickly and was very intense. Buckingham Palace released a statement that clearly showed the Queen was not happy about the situation. Meanwhile, the Duke and Duchess of York were in a rush to manage the negative reactions that followed. For Sarah, the embarrassment grew even worse when it was reported that her own father had played a role in arranging the deal to sell the pictures. After the toe-sucking incident, Sarah felt more alone from the royal family. She couldn't go to official events and had to deal with a tough group of reporters looking for any mistakes. The Duchess's bright future in the royal family was ruined, and people started to see her as a problem for the monarchy. As the weeks turned into months, Sarah struggled to find her footing in this strange new world. Stripped of her royal status and facing mounting debts, she became increasingly desperate for a way out. But even as her marriage crumbled, the Duchess refused to go quietly into the night. Instead, she would embark on a series of ill-fated ventures that would only deepen her financial woes and further alienate her from the royal family. Divorce and debt. On May 30th, 1996, after 4 years of separation, Sarah and Andrew finalized their divorce. The split was amicable, with the Duke and Duchess agreeing to share custody of their 2 daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. But for Sarah, the road ahead was fraught with financial and personal challenges. As part of the divorce settlement, the Duchess received a lump sum of £3 million and an annual allowance of £15,000. But her extravagant lifestyle quickly outpaced her income, leading to a series of embarrassing revelations about her mounting debts. In 2010, Sarah admitted to owing nearly £5 million to various creditors, including a £1.5 million bill from her former publicist. The Duchess's financial woes were heightened by a series of ill-advised business ventures, including a failed lifestyle brand and a short-lived stint as a Weight Watchers spokesperson. As Sarah's debts grew, she became more and more in need of money, which led to a scandal that would put her back in the news. Despite her best efforts to turn things around, Sarah seemed trapped in a vicious cycle of debt and desperation. Her once promising career as a children's book author and charity patron had stalled, and she found herself increasingly reliant on the generosity of wealthy friends and benefactors. But even as she struggled to keep her head above water, the Duchess remained determined to provide a stable home life for her daughters, whom she fiercely protected from the media glare. Over the years, Sarah's money problems got worse. She had to sell her favorite things, like a big house worth £2 million in Berkshire and some expensive jewelry. But even after selling these items, she still couldn't keep up with the growing debt that was closing in on her. By the late 20s, the Duchess was reportedly living hand-to-mouth, relying on the kindness of strangers, and the occasional paid interview to make ends meet. The cash for access scandal. In May 2010, the Duchess of York made international headlines when she was caught on camera offering to sell access to her ex-husband, Prince Andrew, for £500,000. The sting operation, orchestrated by the now-defunct News of the World tabloid, showed Sarah discussing the deal with an undercover reporter posing as a wealthy businessman. In the video, the Duchess can be heard saying, £500,000, when you can, to me, opens doors. She also suggests that Prince Andrew is aware of the arrangement, stating, "Look after me, and he'll look after you." The fallout was huge. Sarah issued a public apology, admitting that her financial situation was under stress, but insisting that Andrew had no knowledge of the scheme. The Duke of York, then serving as Britain's special representative for international trade and investment, was forced to step down from the role in the wake of the scandal. The cash for access scandal was a huge setback for the Duchess, who was already struggling with her reputation. This situation brought up serious concerns about how the royal family balances their public responsibilities with their private business activities. Many people were shocked to learn that Sarah tried to profit from her ties to the royal family, and this news was met with a lot of anger from both the British public and the media. They felt that it was wrong for someone connected to the monarchy to try to make money in this way, and it made them question the integrity of the royal family. In the days and weeks that followed, the Duchess retreated from the public eye, rarely venturing outside her home in Windsor Great Park. She reportedly spent hours on the phone with her lawyers and advisors, desperately searching for a way to salvage her reputation and stave off financial ruin. But even as she grappled with the fallout from the scandal, Sarah knew that her troubles were far from over. The cash for access scandal revealed the Duchess's biggest weaknesses and showed how unstable her life had become. Isolated from the royal family and dealing with rising legal costs, Sarah had to face the tough truth about living outside the royal bubble. She used to be a well-liked person, bringing a fresh perspective to the formal world of British nobility. However, at this point in her life, she had become an outcast, a warning example of the consequences that arise when a seemingly perfect story takes a negative turn. The Jeffrey Epstein connection. In 2011, just a year after the cash for access scandal, the Duchess of York found herself embroiled in yet another controversy, this time involving notorious financier and convicted offender Jeffrey Epstein. Photographs emerged of Sarah at Epstein's New York mansion, where she was seen accepting a bag of money from the disgraced tycoon. The Duchess claimed that the £15,000 payment was intended to help pay off her debts and that she had no knowledge of Epstein's criminal activities. But the revelation that she had accepted money from a convicted pedophile was deeply damaging to her image and further strained her relationship with the royal family. The Epstein connection would continue to haunt Sarah in the years to come, particularly after the financier's arrest and subsequent death in 2019. Questions swirled about the extent of her involvement with Epstein and whether she had introduced him to other members of the royal family, including Prince Andrew. When people learned more about Epstein's terrible crimes, the Duchess was once again in the spotlight. The media looked into her past connections with him and found many links that went back many years. Sarah strongly said she didn't know anything about Epstein's illegal actions, but her reputation was already hurt. The Epstein scandal marked a new low point for the Duchess, one that threatened to overshadow even her previous missteps. She watched helplessly as her ex-husband became embroiled in the controversy, facing allegations of misconduct and questions about his own judgment. And as the royal family scrambled to distance themselves from the growing scandal, Sarah found herself once again on the outside looking in. After the scandal, the Duchess decided to stay away from the public again. She hardly left her house in Windsor Great Park. It was reported that she spent a lot of time talking on the phone with her lawyers and advisors. She was trying very hard to find a way to prove that she was innocent and to keep her daughters safe from all the negative attention from the media. Even though she was working hard to deal with the problems caused by the scandal, Sarah understood that her difficulties were not over yet. She felt the weight of the situation pressing down on her, knowing that there were still challenges ahead. The connection to Epstein showed the hidden issues in Sarah's past life, a life full of money, power, and special treatment that ultimately caused her problems. She was once a popular person, an everyday woman who captured the heart of a prince. But now she was seen as a warning story, showing the risks and problems that can be found behind the fancy life of royalty. But the worst was yet to come for her: the Prince Andrew scandal. In November 2019, the British royal family faced a huge scandal when Prince Andrew did a very bad interview with the BBC's Newsnight show. The Duke of York talked about his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein and tried to answer claims that he had hurt a teenage girl named Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who said Epstein had enslaved her. During the interview, Andrew denied ever meeting Giuffre and offered a series of bizarre explanations for his continued association with Epstein, including a claim that he had stayed at the financier's New York mansion because it was convenient. The Duke also failed to express sympathy for Epstein's victims, leading to widespread public outrage. In a televised interview, Prince Andrew discussed his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Unfortunately, the interview did not go as he had hoped. During the conversation, Prince Andrew made several statements that upset many viewers. He appeared to lack any remorse for the victims of Epstein, which angered a lot of people. As a result, many individuals voiced their criticism of Prince Andrew following the interview. Shortly after this, Prince Andrew released a statement. He announced that he had made the decision to step away from his royal responsibilities for the time being. He would take a break from his public duties as a prince. This was a significant change in his life. For Sarah Ferguson, the Prince Andrew scandal was a painful reminder of the toll that royal scandals can take on a family. It also raised questions about her own judgment and the company she kept during her years as a member of the House of Windsor. The Duchess watched helplessly as her ex-husband's reputation was dragged through the mud, and she reportedly reached out to him privately to offer her support. But even as she grappled with the fallout from the scandal, Sarah knew that she could not afford to be dragged down with Andrew. She had worked too hard to rebuild her own life and reputation to let his mistakes destroy everything she had achieved. And so, in the weeks and months that followed, the Duchess quietly distanced herself from her ex-husband, focusing instead on her own charitable work and her role as a mother to their two daughters. The Prince Andrew scandal was a turning point for Sarah, one that forced her to confront the harsh realities of life as a royal outsider. She had once been a central figure in the monarchy, a beloved duchess who had captured the hearts of the British public. But now, she was just a small part of her ex-husband's messy story, showing how dangerous royal life could really be. The Queen's icy response. Over the years, Sarah Ferguson has been involved in many scandals and has made some public mistakes. Despite this, she has had a complicated relationship with her former mother-in-law, Queen Elizabeth. The Duchess has often talked about the Queen in a nice way during interviews, saying good things about her. However, people who know the royal family well have shared that the relationship between Sarah and the Queen is not always warm. Instead, it can be tense, and sometimes even cold. This means that while Sarah may say nice things, there is a lot more going on behind the scenes that shows their relationship is not as friendly as it seems. In the wake of the Cash for Access scandal in 2010, the Queen reportedly made her feelings about the Duchess clear in a private meeting at Balmoral Castle. According to insiders, Her Majesty told Sarah that she had brought shame and disgrace upon the family, and that her behavior was unacceptable. The Queen's cold reaction served as a clear warning about the very high expectations that are placed on members of the royal family. It showed that there are serious consequences for anyone who does not meet these expectations. For Sarah, this was a hurtful criticism from someone she had admired and considered like a second mother. After the meeting, the Duchess was seen leaving in tears, feeling heartbroken by the Queen's tough words, and realizing that she had disappointed the family she used to belong to once again. In the years that followed, Sarah's relationship with the Queen remained strained, even as she worked to rebuild her life and reputation. The Duchess was reportedly banned from attending certain royal events and was forced to watch from the sidelines as her daughters took on increasingly high-profile roles within the monarchy. And while she continued to speak fondly of the Queen in public, those close to Sarah knew that the wounds from their past conflicts had never fully healed. And as she looked to the future, Sarah knew that she would have to tread carefully if she ever hoped to regain the trust and respect of the royal family. A royal outcast. Even though Sarah Ferguson has tried many times to fix her image and improve her relationship with the royal family, she has mostly been seen as a minor figure in the House of Windsor lately. She has not been invited to important events, like the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton in 2011. Instead, she has had to watch from a distance as her daughters take on more and more important roles in the monarchy. This situation has been difficult for her, as she feels left out while her children are becoming stars in the royal family. For the Duchess, being seen as an outsider in the royal family has been really hard to accept. In many interviews, she has talked openly about how much it hurts to feel like she is not good enough for the family she used to be a part of. She has shared how the constant attention from the public and the media has affected her mental health over the years. Sarah has faced challenges like feeling very sad and anxious after going through many difficult situations and scandals. Because of this, she has reached out for help from therapists and other professionals who specialize in mental health. She knows that it's important to take care of her feelings and to find support when things get tough. Despite facing her own struggles and challenges, Sarah has continued to speak out and support many important charitable causes. She cares deeply about helping children get a good education and is also passionate about stopping human slavery. In addition to her advocacy work, Sarah has kept writing books and giving interviews. Through these efforts, she shares her experiences and thoughts, allowing people to see a little bit into the life of one of the most well-known families in the world. And while her relationship with the royals may never be what it once was, Sarah has reportedly found a measure of peace and purpose in her life as a mother, philanthropist, and public figure. And while she may never fully escape her past, the Duchess remains determined to forge her own path and leave a positive legacy for her children and the causes she holds dear. The impact on Beatrice and Eugenie. The saddest part of Sarah Ferguson's difficult time in the royal family is what happened to her two daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. These girls grew up with cameras following them everywhere. They watched their mom make mistakes that ended up in newspapers and magazines, and they had to deal with all of it while everyone was watching. Being born into the royal family meant they got a lot of nice things, but it also meant they couldn't escape when things got messy. In recent years, Beatrice and Eugenie have taken on more public roles, but they have also faced criticism and mockery from the British press, with some commentators questioning their relevance and value to the monarchy. The princesses have reportedly struggled with the intense media scrutiny and the pressure to live up to the expectations placed upon them as members of the royal family. For Sarah, watching her daughters struggle with the same issues that have plagued her own life has been a source of deep pain and regret. In interviews, she has spoken about the guilt she feels over the impact her actions have had on her children and her desire to protect them from the harsh glare of the public spotlight. The Duchess has reportedly worked hard to provide a stable and loving home life for her daughters, even as her own relationship with the royal family has remained strained. Despite the challenges they have faced, Beatrice and Eugenie have remained close to their mother and have often spoken publicly about their love and admiration for her. They have also taken on increasingly high-profile roles within the monarchy, with Beatrice serving as a patron of several charities and Eugenie working as an associate director at an art gallery. And while they may never fully escape the shadow of their mother's scandals, the princesses remain determined to forge their own paths and make a positive impact on the world around them. The impact of Sarah Ferguson's tumultuous journey on her daughters is a reminder of the heavy toll that life in the public eye can take on even the most privileged of families. It is a burden that Beatrice and Eugenie have had to bear from a young age, and one that they will likely carry with them for the rest of their lives. Do you think she will find the redemption she so desperately seeks? Or will she be forever haunted by the ghosts of her past? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.